Alrighty. Well, my name is Raz. It's good to see you all today. Let me just open this up. It's the time of the year where we talk about our Give Project a lot. And I get the honor again today. Each year we take time at Christmas to redirect our church's attention away from all the consumerism, away from all of the stuff that our culture imposes on this season, and instead we focus our energy on generosity. The ways that we can bless others with our finances. And this year's Give series is a little different to many of the other Give series that we've done, because typically we raise money for one project, and we raise money for 4 or 5 weeks throughout November and December, and we give everything to one project. But this year, we're kind of doing it in stages, and we're raising money week by week for the thing that we announced for that week. And so last week, we announced phase 1, and in support of the Casey Police Department and the Casey Public Safety Foundation, our aim was to raise $2,000 for the Shop with a Cop program, which is a program to sponsor underserved local kids so that they could go buy Christmas gifts with a local police officer. I'm glad to announce that we achieved that goal by mid-afternoon of last Sunday. It took us just a couple of hours, and so just this past week, we cut a check to the Shop with a Cop, to the foundation for Shop with a Cop. And Spencer got a lovely email from the Casey Police Chief thanking us for our generosity. We asked them to keep it quiet that we were involved in this at all, so they're going to get all the credit. Thank you all for that. We also announced last week that if we came in above $2,000, everything that was above that $2,000 mark would roll forward and give us a kickstart, like a head start on this week's phase of the project. And again, I'm thrilled to announce that we raised, on top of that $2,000, an additional $3,032.73. Yep. So we're going to start this week with a $3,000 head start. That was on zero notice. Nobody told you we were going to be asking for money last week, so we're stoked with that. And today I get to tell you about phase 2. So for phase 2, we are partnering with a local nonprofit called Providence Home. Providence Home is a Christian transitional home for men who are trying to leave behind sort of some old patterns, some old way of life, and embrace healthy and productive Christ-centered lives. These men are coming out of pretty bad circumstances. Typically, it is addiction, often it's incarceration, and often it's homelessness. It's not a homeless shelter, it's a transition home. Men stay at Providence Home for about 4 to 12 months as they get back on their feet. While they're there, they're required to work. They pay a weekly program fee. And during their stay at Providence Home, they have access to social services, medical, dental. They get biblical teaching. They're involved in drug and Alcoholic Anonymous meetings. They get employment assistance, transport, and pastoral care. These are typically the men that the world has either given up on or looks down upon. They just need help getting things turned around. And this is where Christians and the church ought to shine. We sing songs like the anthem that we're all accustomed to here that Spencer and Chet wrote based on the parable of the great banquet. And at the very end, in the bridge of that song, we sing, "We will go to the helpless, to the hurting, to the broken. We will go to the desperate, the discarded, the alone." The helpless, the hurting, the broken, desperate, discarded, and alone is a great way to frame the kind of people who end up at Providence Home. And so this is a great organization that seeks to help them get back on their feet with a job and with stable income. I don't know, I guess I had a good idea right in the middle of that. So when we reached out to Providence Home, we said, "What do y'all need?" And they said, "We need new floors in our kitchen and dining area." Evidently, they were advised at some point to put this coating on their floors that was supposed to protect it, and it did not stand the test of time with the amount of foot traffic that they have in that area. And so it's not just become a hazard because there's kind of potholes and stuff around. It's become incredibly difficult to clean. It's time consuming for them. It's a massive inconvenience. And people they're a little bit worried that it's going to become a bigger and bigger problem over time. And so As they've sought advice on a number of different options for flooring, it seems that the best option is going to be something similar to what we did in here and out in the lobby, which is just a polished concrete, something that will take an absolute beating. But it takes money to get rid of what they already have, to sand it back and to start fresh and fill in all the potholes. So, for phase 2 of our Give project this year, we are seeking to raise $10,000 this week for Providence Home to redo their floors. That is the estimate that they've gotten from a number of different flooring contractors is with the shape of the kitchen and the way the dining room goes, it's going to take about $10,000 to get rid of the old one and put in something new. Now, we already have $3,000 carried over from last week. We raised $5,000 in a week last time. $3,000 of that carries to this week, which means that between now and next Sunday, our goal is to raise an additional $7,000 to bring that up to $10,000. So the 3 that carries forward plus 7 that we're hoping to raise this week will be 10 that would go towards funding this project. Now, something's a little bit different. Well, I guess it's the same, but you should we want to be transparent with how these numbers are going to work. If we come in short over this coming week, we are going to cut a check to Providence Home for the amount that we raise. So if we raise $5,000, we add it to the 3, we've got 8. That is how much we're giving to Providence Home to fund, to kind of kickstart their project. If we come in over, then it's going to work very similar to how it worked this past week. If we raise $12,000 this week, and we add in the 3 that carried over from last week, we now have 15. We're going to cut a $10,000 check to Providence Home, and $5,000 is going to carry forward to the final project that we're announcing next week. Hope that makes sense. Just want to make sure that everyone knows exactly where this money is going. If it doesn't make any sense, I'm going to be sitting right there for about 5 minutes afterwards. You can come and ask me, and we'll find a napkin. I'll draw it for you. All right, so how to give. If you weren't here last week, there's a couple ways you can give. If you use the app, you can use your app. It's the Church Center app. It's in there and on the Give tab. If you use our website, it's in the top corner is the Give button, and then this thing pops up. You'll have 2 options, either the General Fund or the Give Fund. It will default to General, so if you want to give to the Give project, you have to select down on that little drop-down menu. If you're going to give in person, there's the boxes on either side, and on the communion tables, there's an envelope that says the word give on it. Anything in that envelope is going to go to this project. Anything outside of that envelope is going to count as regular giving because our church family gives regularly to the gospel work of Mill City. So again, the goal for phase 2 is to give $10,000 to Providence Home, a transition home for men, to redo the floors in their kitchen and dining area. This is a great opportunity for us as a church family to dig deep, to sacrifice some of what we would have spent on our own Christmas this year, and instead give generously so that others can have something a little nicer this Christmas as well. A couple other quick announcements. Christmas Eve service this year. We typically would meet in the mornings on Sundays, but we also usually, in most years, have a Christmas night of worship. And because Sunday falls on Christmas Eve this year, what we're doing is kind of blending those, anticipating a smaller crowd. It's going to be a low-key Christmas night of worship on Christmas Eve, which happens to be a Sunday. And so what that looks like is instead of meeting here at 10:30 in the morning, we're going to meet at 5:30, which is kind of late afternoon, early evening, so that by the time all of that wraps up, people can still make plans for 7 o'clock, 7:30 onward for normal family activities. So put that on your calendar. Christmas Eve gathering is going to be here at 5:30 in the afternoon, early evening. If this is your first week, or if you've been lingering around for a couple weeks and you haven't connected yet, you can head through those doors at the end into the little living room area, and the very handsome Mike Goebel will be there to greet you, and he will give you some more information about our church and some of the things that we do and easy ways for you to plug in. Church, you are Plan A. Jesus has sent you and commissioned you as a missionary to your neighbors, friends, colleagues, family. The Christmas season is a great reason to talk about Jesus. Invite them in, tell them the good news. You are sent. Have a great week.